continental infrastructure that connects our people. We actually do not need a visa. We don't need a visa between South Africa and Nigeria. In the same way, we don't need a visa for our people to travel in their own continent. We are one. Both South Africa and Nigeria know the pain of colonialism. Both have faced internal divisions. Both have endured the pressures of global imperialism that seeks to divide and exploit and control us. Both know that the only path forward is pan-African solidarity. We must reject the illusion that our salvation will come from Washington, London, Brussels, or Beijing. Our salvation lies here in Lagos and Johannesburg, in Abuja and Pretoria, in the hands of Africans who refuse to be divided. Together, Nigeria and South Africa can lead African continent free trade area, not as a paper agreement, but as a living reality that changes the lives of ordinary people. Together, we can demand fair trade, protect our industries, and
absolutely true. I've been talking about these things.
Innovation. Together, we can prove that Africa is not a begging bowl, but a continent of giants. We must prove to the whole world that we are not xenophobic.
Yes.
We love one another. Black people are not loved in Africa and are not loved outside Africa. We have a duty to love ourselves and show the whole world on how it must treat us. We cannot treat each other badly and expect other people to treat us much better. How you treat your own brother and your own sister, it's how you teach others outside how they must treat you. The unity of our continent is paramount, and we must never associate with any xenophobic agenda that perpetuates the divisions in South Africa. Solidarity is what we need for each other.
So that is Julius Malema speaking in Nigeria just over the weekend. The Nigerian Bar Association, that's the body of the Nigerian lawyers, an association of Nigerian lawyers, just to put it straightforward, invited him to be the keynote speaker in their MBA conference. It's held every year. And this time around, it was actually organized in Enugu State. It's called the Coal City State, one of the historic states in Nigeria. Julius Malema addressed a number of issues, and these issues are part of the discussions I've always had in my videos I put out. Even in the last weekends, I talked about it. In the 80s, during the late Thomas Sankara's last meeting at the then Organization of African Unity, now AU, he talked about the need to abolish foreign loans. He pleaded with his contemporaries at the OAU to stop accepting foreign loans. He talked about how Africans can actually solve their issues and how within the sub-regions they could find a way of trading amongst themselves, getting loans and solving Africa's challenges. It's not different from what Malema is talking about today. To grow Africa, we all, including Malema, has agreed that trade is the way forward, and we need to exhaustively trade amongst our continent first. Look at the comparative advantages of what different nations are growing and see how best we can patronize ourselves. Issues around border. We don't need borders. He said it as well. We don't need borders. All we need to do is to open up our borders, strengthen security, and we will address issues that are bedeviling us. Africa has no business with xenophobia. South Africa has no business with hating other Africans. And this is one of the reasons why I continue to advocate that history be taught and history be restored in the schools. You have a total generation that knows next to nothing about the contribution of other countries, particularly Nigeria, to South Africa. And other nations are needed to have been independent of their colonizers. Imperialism, like he said, has affected a lot of African nations. Some South Africans don't see Zimbabweans eye to eye in recent times. Same thing they do to Zambia. And Nigeria is also not left out. Literally, every country within Africa have some sort of hostility or Cold War brewing amongst themselves. I love the fact that Julius Malema strengthened this discussion in Nigeria for South Africans to see that South Africa is invited into Nigeria to give keynote address over what is affecting us, the black population. And this is one of the things I expect African Americans, those who call themselves black Americans, to also learn from. It is only Africans, the black population, that have this identity crisis. It is only this black population that continues to battle identity issues, identity crisis, and rage within themselves. The animosity is getting bigger, is deepening. We don't trade amongst ourselves. We don't have this interpersonal relationship with ourselves. We're not willing to sit down and have conversations. When are we going to put all this behind us? Whenever you see Africans on the internet, social media space, it's always war, it's always conflict, it's always stereotypes. Africans are not identifying opportunities amongst themselves, creating markets, dismantling the borders, and ensuring that we deepen trade. This is why our resources are going out, and Julius Malema also researched that fact. We shouldn't be the reservoir where cheap labors are exported to Europe and the other parts of the world. We shouldn't be the haven of raw materials and resources for Europe and the rest of the world. We need to begin to tap and refine our resources and sell to the rest of the world. Africans need to borrow themselves this brain. The set of leaders we have today are part of our problems. They're always happy when we're at loggerheads with one another. The other day was Ghanaians versus Nigerians. I don't know whose turn is going to be next, but we must understand that our leaders are happy when we're a lot more divided. But we need to unite ourselves, identify opportunities, trade amongst ourselves more, demand good governance, accountability, increase security for ourselves, ensure that we put up security framework that serves the entire continent, and ensure that we benefit maximally, ensure we maximize the potentials, the opportunities that exist within the continent first, before looking at. Julius Malema's visit to Nigeria strengthened my resolve in the unity of Africa and the black population. I want to see an Africa where an Ethiopian visits Kenya to give lecture about the unity of Africa and also carry out businesses in such a way that there are no restrictions of any kind. I want to see a Nigerian visit Egypt and carry out businesses like he is in his own community. This is how we build a strong, viral continent. Not until we begin to think like this and begin to see that Africa is one and we need to break that barriers and live as one. We will continue to live in bubbles, we'll continue to fight like those who are fighting tribal wars, and we live in the dark. I'd love to read your comments and thoughts on Julius Malema's visit to Nigeria. And I hope to see you in the next video.